I'm Philip Foust, Republican candidate for Marion County Prosecutor. Like many of you, I was horrified by the news of Brett Scrogham's murder, that he was shot at 6 p.m. on a Thursday in a parking garage just before he was set to take in an Indians game with his family. This is heartbreaking and infuriating. I can't stop thinking about how something so American and wholesome was turned into tragedy for Brett's family. But also that if families don't feel safe downtown at 6 p.m. on a Thursday, our capital will collapse. I've heard many different statements on this case and agreed with portions of them. Certainly, there is plenty of room for introspection, for soul-searching about what our city can do better. But I've also heard a lot about how 2 lives were ruined that day. And while every defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and all criminal charges are merely accusations, for a true prosecutor, there is only one victim here, and it is not the shooter. Additionally, what I haven't heard, and what I will clearly state now, is that 14-year-olds know right from wrong. They are responsible for their actions, for choosing to shoot another human being in the head, for murder. And if the facts prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this 14-year-old murdered Brett, there should be no equivocation about accountability. In a just society, a convicted murderer never breathes free air again. In Indiana, we'll have to settle for a sentence measured in decades, knowing a young murderer will likely regain years of freedom after that sentence. Freedom Brett won't enjoy on this earth. I am heartened that the Marion County Prosecutor's Office has taken the first step towards justice for Brett Scrogham's family. However, Ryan Mears appeared to take comfort in the lack of a criminal record for the 14-year-old alleged murderer. This reveals a complete failure to grasp the point of deterrence, which aims to stop not only repeat offenders, but also would-be first-time offenders from starting criminal careers in the first place. This is crime 101. When there are no consequences, criminals are emboldened. The fact that a 14-year-old was arrested for this murder should shock our city, our state, and our nation. But unfortunately, many of us are not surprised, given a growing and disturbing trend in our capital. We have seen teenagers commit increasingly serious crimes unchecked. That escalation stems from the fact that they learn they will face few legal consequences for auto thefts, then car chases, then robberies and carjackings, and then even shootouts with police. There is a reason robbery gangs usually pick the youngest to be the gunman. They know Marion County juvenile justice under Ryan Mears is a joke. We shouldn't act like no criminal history means no one could have seen this coming. Every criminal record starts at 0. We should not take comfort in seeing young people skip straight to armed robberies, shootings, and murders. The problem of juvenile crime is not a trend we can afford to overlook. If you want to see the future of our city, look at the crimes being committed by her juveniles today. Right now, that picture is alarming. Ignoring or downplaying the reality of juvenile crime doesn't help anyone. Not the public, not past victims, not future victims, and pretending juvenile offenders are just misunderstood victims doesn't help them either. The absolute worst thing we can do for a young offender is convince them they are the victim and their actions don't have consequences, because they do. And all too often, those consequences are deadly. Now, IMPD and other law enforcement agencies are doing their best, but Prosecutor Ryan Mears has repeatedly chosen to work against them and to side with criminals. As prosecutor, I will confront juvenile crime head-on, clear standards with real consequences. We owe it to our neighborhoods to restore order. Criminals have been coddled at the expense of law-abiding victims for long enough. What we're doing now is failing everyone: the public, past and future victims, and the juvenile offender. It's not normal or acceptable for gunshots to ring out downtown at 6 p.m. on a Thursday, or for a family to lose a loved one to murder. But unfortunately, emboldened criminals are the direct result of failed leadership from the Marion County Prosecutor and from a juvenile justice system shrouded in secrecy. That's why I'm calling on the Statehouse and local court administration to revise the privacy protections for juvenile offenders. Those protections were no doubt the product of good intentions. After all, no one thinks a 10-year-old who shoplifts some bubblegum should be marked for life with a criminal record. But as with so many well-intentioned ideas, there are unintended consequences. I worked in the Marion County juvenile justice system, and I can tell you firsthand that many serious crimes and repeat offenders are handled without a thought for future victims and the public. The entire focus centers on the well-being of the juvenile offender. The law-abiding are an afterthought at best, and the Shroud of Secrecy protects lenient judges and an ideological prosecutor alike. If we are serious about improving outcomes, we need to know what we're doing wrong. After all, sunlight is the best disinfectant. But right now, it is very difficult for the public to get real insights into trends and terrible decision-making in the juvenile system. That must change. Indy deserves better for your children and mine. I've prosecuted juvenile offenses, I've worked with at-risk youth, and unlike Ryan Mears, I'm less concerned about being called cold-hearted or about chasing the latest political trends than I am about the future victims, justice, and speaking the truth. And that is the crux of the choice in the election this fall. A prosecutor who thinks and acts like a defense attorney, who allows pity to override his basic sense of justice, versus me, a prosecutor who will not blink when it comes to delivering accountability. That's how we restore confidence in the Marion County justice system. Thank you.